Hello, this is Gerald Van. Let me introduce some trick so that you can use the balance that is present between letters in words to make it more presentable, as because every letter is a specific position in time and space, and it's very good to show that balance where it is and how quickly the orientation acts to organize itself within the context that it has in each of these letters. The reason why this idea is present in each letter, that's some other chapter, but I can show you already how it can be useful to interpret the reason why these orientations organize themselves within this context. And I'll use first, in this video, I will use a few simple examples to demonstrate that. I also will repeat some of the theory that is lying behind it that backs this up. And the simple words that I will use are based upon the Dutch words BOL, BAL, BIL, BEL, which are quite similar to the English words. As at least for some of them, or are recognizable for some of them. But they're a bit more easy because they're shorter, and it's very good to make a demonstration with them. So I will use those in this video. In the next video I will use a word which is a bit more complex, and that also shows you that this method that I will use now is not ideal for all the words, and it's sadly, there's not a method which you can use as a puzzle, as an idiot, so that you just you use them as a puzzle and you just put them together. Now, you have to understand a little bit what you're doing, and it's not too difficult, but you can have difficulties because it will not always be easy. You have to put them together. They will not always fit so well, and then you have to know what to do, and that's the problem with the words that fit well together, physically, visually. That makes it also easy to see the logic that is behind it. But that's not true for everything, and also not all words are expressions of simple things. So that's of course easy that there are the expressions themselves are a bit blurry or sticking together or show complex movements. Logical, it's about complex movements. But we keep it now to simple words to start with, and then we go to the more complex ones. So here are the simple ones. And the simple idea that I use here is actually taking the elements apart in a way that you can see the separate elements, that you can see space as a separate space, and where you have just one point of orientation is enough, and you don't need much else. So that's the steady space, which is presented also by the vague idea, because the vowels are in fact a little bit like vague ideas of orientations, and they point you into the right direction, and the A is always pointing in that direction where you just need one focus, and that one focus is enough. It's an object, it's a thing. Like we use a for it, the letter A, it's a thing. There's nothing else that you need for that. It's in space, it's in 3 dimensions, and a couple of letters, also other letters fit with that as well. It's 9 letters in total. When it's a bit more complicated and things change, or we have relationships and deal with changes and so on, of course we have the timing, and there are the arrows involved, and we have the beginning of the timing that is organized as a focus with E, and the final results in O. And in the background is then the open context, where we need 3 kinds of focuses, not just the beginning and the ending, but something that is also, it's ongoing the whole time, and it doesn't really matter where it starts from or where it goes to both, or at least not both of them. So we look at, okay, how is the balance? That's a bit more complex to work with, but the idea is should be enough to make it work. That you once you understand what is practical, you see what you have to what you need to do. The more simple things are in the basics, in the and the more complex things are in that last category. And there we need, of course, much more ideas for that and understanding how to do so. But I will try to keep it simple all the time. And what we have is, of course, we have a main focus. It's we visualize that before us. In fact, the three spaces are working together, but we first deal with the first area, the space, then we deal with the timing, and then we deal with the general context which is ongoing. In that way, it's good to separate them so that we can distinct them better as well. It's quite logical, in fact, that I do it like this. And the way how this is balanced between each other has also some reasons. It should also work because you also have the overlapping areas that become more visible in that way as well. So within these areas, all the letters in a numerical order are organized within there. In 3 dimensions, you have ATK, ULB, C, CMX in one focal point, where some of the letters will be in the middle, a bit further away, and so on, in 1, 2, or 3 points of reference. Or you have the double focus with the timing matters, how we time things. So these are the double focal points, and then the backing viewpoint is there as well. And of course, I try to keep an order in the letter so that I can read it. You have to follow the order of letters. We prefer from left to right. So the left one is where we start, and we go to the other thing. So all these ideas, which are very simple, are in that way organized in a way so that you can distinct them and deal with them, and they will fit with those ideas as well. So we have that reorganization area in the background, where I also use arrows for it to guide me or guide us. The moving arrows, of course, because it moves from one area to a next in timing, or the positions in just points. So I will not always use these points or these areas, but if I am doubtful, where is it, how is it, we need them, and of course we have to count the ATK as 1 point, ULB has 2 points, CME has 3 points, and then also it's always a little bit further away from the middle, so it's in the middle, bit further away, and at the edges. We have to deal with these things. It's a bit more complex when we need to deal with them, because that also says, we can't see it very clearly in the beginning, and we have to make more distinctions. Sometimes when you have to make more and more distinctions, you have to also use the correct awareness here. Okay, but what if there are too many options? We have to make the good choices, and there can be some tricky things if it is not working immediately. Shouldn't fantasize, of course, but then you have to look up for the knowledge behind it, what is really expressed there, and then we add, of course, also the main functions of what is most dominant in each of these letters, which I have described also in various times. What comes to it as well is, thanks to the setting that we separate space from timing, and then the open timing, let's say, we also have the different areas that we have of the overlapping areas. When it's within the physical area, within the space, you have this, you see the orientation like perspective a little bit. You have a very much a focus upon the physical thing. And at the left you have a figure, so that's a figure where I deal with. It's mostly, the first figure I deal with is me, so it's my viewpoint, and there's another viewpoint which is where I go to, it's the position where I will go to, it's the other thing, it's other conditions and so on. That's also how timing works. We first start from our viewpoint, go to someone else's viewpoint, to another area, to another condition, and so on. That's the area how we see it, and that's the same kind of balance, and we can use this kind of balance. So we can also say that if we organize it and I come to that area because it fits there best, it has also this organization. If it fits at the starting point, we are going to start from a starting point. It's as simple as that. Don't organize it like an idiot with that puzzle. You have to know what you're doing, but that's why I define these areas also. They are quite simple in the way that when you split space, time, you have a beginning, ending, or use open thing, you come as easily to these subjects, to these ideas. So that's how I come from a physical focus in the middle. So when I have that and I can keep that, the things that are named will be physical as well. When I'm at the first position of E, it's about what I make from it, and so on. Well, the other thing is then what I have to make for it. These are the conditions that are there for. So when these places become to dominate, that's also the ideas that become to dominate. If in the background it's just these ideas, and if it's not involved in this timing process so much, or it is completely, it's really very far away, you start from the idea. Okay, then you have to think about the idea, or you have to prepare the idea, or when it's finalizing it after the conditions, of course it will be the executing of the idea, or you can use it and change it and make it so that everybody can use it in the end. So these orders are logical, and so you have the start to finish, and you finalize it, and then you can use it and everybody can use it. This works in the background. So all the associations of words that you have, and you have a position where you can, one of these figures, you can point a person there, you can point an object there, but you can visualize an object there, or you can use it on an object, or you can use it as something. Where it is projected, you know more or less how you deal with it. And that will be shown in the next couple of videos. So this basic scheme actually shows the orientations as a balance between timing and placement. So it's not just about that all the words immediately find their place and that's it, because there's also in the meanwhile there's a balance search, and there's a process that makes a form coming out. It's a different method. We'll not use this method there now, but you can also add that. By respecting the order of letters, it will not be contradictory. If you don't respect the order well, or it is not well organized, it will not look like these words anymore, and it will not also be able to add up the forms that are needed, that are formed there. So that's also something, if you make mistakes, the other methods that you will also could apply to it will not work to it either. So let's go to BEL, BAL, BIL, BOL. In the background you have the timing, in the starting point we have the spatial area, and in the very far background we have the general view background of context. And all those letters are to be picked out and be put into the right columns and to the right positions, and that's what I do with BEL to start with. If I simply add E, B and L at the right positions, you can see I cannot read it because then it's BOL. The order is not correct, so I have to, but luckily there are two places for E I can use it into the second category because it starts with B, and I can't put it at further from the middle from where I start. I have to use the E. Of course, I have to switch the E. Instead of the starting conditions, I go to the ending conditions. And that has an effect on the logic that is used in the word, because then I will not focus so much on starting a timing process, but I also start a timing process towards the result. So the E is going towards the result. I have to switch it. And when I do so, I can read the word BEL. And simply by organizing it like this, you already know what it's dealing with. Because now I know also that with the BEL, I will not just use it as A with timing, but I also use it because of B, the pressure point will lead it to a timing goal, so that I have a goal in where it will have to lead to. And where will it lead to? It will lead to the L. It will lead to what? To its form, to its formation, and to how it expresses itself, and expresses itself also beyond that steady space. So it will involve some movement as well. That's all kind of things that you can derive from it, simply because I follow the rules of where is the space, where is it readable, what's the order. And of course the things will move up. If we have, for instance, a steady object, but we first have movement, will we still have the steady point of that movement at the starting place? No, we first have to move it, and then the steady point has moved. And so it is, you can see that there will be movement in the end. That's why the formation of L will be outside already the spatial frame. It will be in the frame of timings, changes, the changed environment, and of course also movement. Here's the BEL, which I expresses here. And what do we read then from the letters? We have B, which are then, of course, focused upon these conditions in E. These conditions are also about extending its formal expression. That's what B is about. It's about that extension and the end effect which it will have by extending this formal expression. It's timed because of E, it's timed, and it's timed because of B in certain conditions, and these conditions will also be shown via its physical expression in L. And that's what the BEL is about, and that's what the focus of the BEL is about. Very simple, and actually very clearly correct for what it is used for. So, of course, it is this BEL is not just a physical object, it's more than a physical object. It's also about timing that you use for it. There's a physical potential that it has, that is expressed only because of the time, because of its position. It also says, no, it has its full expression of L, then, the physical expression, only after a while by following up its conditions, not just by timing it with E, but also by pressing the timing it towards its result. That's the way how you can understand BEL completely from the letter positions alone. I didn't realize it immediately, but I said, like, okay, there are two places for timings, a beginning or an ending. I could simply have adapted the E to the B position, and then have the E there somewhat in the middle as a compromise. So that could work as even better, and that's even more clear what is going on. Then you still have the timing, so you have this timing process in the background, pressed also by B, the B which is also potentially in a physical object even ready for timing, ready for timing to express itself with L. L is the expression of things that come to a form, that show itself a form. What kind of form in this timing? And you have it already with the B, the pressure, and the L as a form, and even the thing underneath is almost like the L. This is even more clear. So of course there is interpretation involved, but once you start to seek out for the balance in the words, you show the balance where they are, you show them in the right positions, or in positions where they can be. The better you have them in balance, the more they show you what kind of balance that you have. Of course, we still need interpretation, but one interpreter will be better than the other one. The better you interpret and deal with what's underlying, because you have only a limited range of what is correct. It's all this range in the background, of course, but you have to have the order of letters as well. And once you find the balance, how this balance is forming and performing with each other as a letter combination, you start to realize what is expressed beneath it even better, more and more. Okay, and maybe I think this expression shows it even better. And there you see the form B, E, L. Let's go to BAL then. BAL or BOL. We know that BAL is a very physical thing, and also all the letters B, A, and L are all within that range of the physical letters, all in the blue area. So I can all press them together. I have to press them together, of course, in a way that I can read B, A, and L separately. Also in an order that I have the positions correct, that they are in the areas where they belong. So the areas of A is at the full area. The L is in the area, should actually be somewhat in between, in the in-between zone, and then the what else we would, yeah, in between. But here it is a bit pressed to the side. The size is correct, but I had to press it a bit outside because the B is already there. It's like you have a pressing point, and this pressing point, yeah, they push. Yeah, if you have to have a BIL, yeah, it's a little bit pressed to the side. You have this extending pressure of the B, then I have the A, and then I have to follow it by the L, so the L is a little bit moved to the right. I have no other options than move it a little bit so that I can read it. I can even move it even further if I want. So that option I still have. I still kept it a little bit in the middle as well, where the A started. But I can still press it a little bit more. But that's what is it. There's this pressure in the ball, which is centered, and the form what it gets, because that's L. In this case, it's still confined within that frame, but it could also extend it a little bit in timing. So it has that tendency indeed to press itself towards its border as well, and that's what the ball is. There's that pressing point of the formation process that is within that physical frame, visible, also understandable and recognizable because of the order of letters. Let's go to BIL. A BIL is the button. We also have the BIL, of course, the BIL you have to pay for something, but that's with the isn't that with a double L? I think it is. But I use this with a one L. Here we have the background here, the E. So here, is it readable? BIL, I think it is. And I have the correct positions, that I can read them, that I have them in the right order. Let's see, here is the button, which is expressed there. Is the position correct? It's the E is an insertion. The B is that, yeah, pressed form, and the L is showing itself in the form, and it remains within that physical frame, and it's inserted, so it means it's part of a bigger whole as a separate part, and that's indeed what it is. I mean, that's what the expression is always referring to in E as well. It inserts itself as an arrow, actually, also towards that place where I can have it fit. And it can be, there can be more than one thing. There can be more. It can also be used in a general form and so on. It is somewhat recognizable. It's not completely convincing, maybe, that it really is the expression of that thing especially, but it's not a not fit for sure. And let's go then to BOL, which I had separately as well. So you had the B as that pressure, the O as the it's focus on the conditions, and the L as the physical expression. So the conditions that you have in B, so they are showing that there are conditions within a physical extension, and the conditions themselves are expressed in timing, and the L is that extension. What is the BOL? The BOL is actually the sphere. It's most of the time it's more like a projected sphere, and that's where BOL is used. BOL is about the shape, but the shape is like it's projected to the outside. It's pressed with the B, forced in a way, enlarged, and it takes shape via these conditions. The BOL or shape is the shape of the globe is used as a projection, and that fits it very well. The expression of L, of taking shape, is following these conditions of enlargement in that way. So that is that projected way. It is understandable how BOL fits with that particular form, and it means something completely different as BAL. I have expressed this word before, but that's another execution of this same expression in a different way. I can still understand it and recognizable as an order of letters. So I think these should already make it more clear that the method itself of organizing the letters that all have a position in time and space can also be shown a little bit better what is there and how do they self-organize. Self-organization is a bit difficult at times, because here they are simple words, so they say, of course, the results are quite simple. It's not a basic method, but it's a method that helps you to guide you a little bit that this is going on. This self-organization gets itself a balance between time and space, get itself an order, and I'm not even dealing with how the things are shaped to each other as a balance, but the position of itself goes very quickly. I find the position and there it is, and that's what it deals with. That's what is going on very quickly, and it's one of the aspects that is expressed with it. In the next video it will be a more complex word that doesn't show itself so easily, and so that means that my method that I use here is not the best one to use all the time, but it could guide you into a direction that you can see, oh, here I'm going towards it. If you see that immediately, okay, you can use it. If you don't see it immediately, leave it. There are other methods as well. If you don't see it immediately, it doesn't mean it doesn't work, but it's simply, and that will be shown in the next video, because the complexity, what you see, is not making it clear immediately without the knowledge of knowing what is going beyond the scenes there, and how do I organize it. If I have too many options how to organize it, of course then you have to interfere too much, and that's a danger. So let's try to focus on ideas that work when interference is not needed too much. When interference is needed, we have to know what we are doing, and I will deal with that, of course. Okay, thanks again for watching. Bye.